Welcome to episode 1 of March Malcontent. New year, new setup, new thumbnail. I don't know if you could see any of the changes on that, but some of the shading is slightly different. Yeah, now that I kind of know a little bit of what I'm doing, the changes are going to be a little bit more subtle. Little Mac almost just immediately died, managed to make it back, good for him. And he's getting the crap beaten out of him by Steve. Other items of business to go over. We got a couple of new people since last year. So, I guess the quickest good KO punch from Little Mac. The quickest way to go over the changes is that now we have all of the Smash Brothers amiibo, except for Pyra and Mithra, because they're still going for an incredibly high price, and I really don't want to pay scalpers. Don't want to reward them. I'm gonna wait for a reprint, if there is any. Surely the Anime Girl Collection figurines are gonna get a reprint at some point. It's just money waiting to happen. So all the Smash Brothers amiibos combined with Kirby Classic, and I guess everyone else technically counts as a Smash Brothers amiibo. We have all of the Pokemon Trainer. We have all the skin alts for Bayonetta, Corrin, Cloud. So for a total, we have 94 entrants this year. Our biggest ever, but of course that's going to happen when we keep adding people each year. Did Little Mac just win? No, Steve barely lived. Anvil off stage. Little Mac grabs the ledge. He's going to have a hard time. He actually jumped past the pressure plate. That's one of those I'm probably going to want to go back and check to see what exactly happened. Obviously, he didn't get hit, but if I was in that situation, I probably would have. Little Mac doesn't get a tech off the block, but he gets a weird bounce, setting him back to, I guess, the neutral position pretty quickly. Charges up a lunge. Doesn't get Stever with it. But Max still does have a KO punch, and he is 2 lives ahead, so... Aerial version is a lot weaker than the grounded version, so that's actually not going to kill, even though Steve was at about 100. Little Mac aggressively going in with aerials, a normally terrible strategy for a Little Mac to do. Stever struggling to make anything happen. At least he recovers. Does not get 2-framed by Little Mac's down smash. That is a very good move for 2-framing people. It's strong, it hits low enough. Crafting a diamond. This is... I guess that diamond's going to have to do quite a lot if Stever's going to pull out a win here. Because Little Mac just needs to start throwing out random smash attacks, and he will probably win. He did get killed by an anvil, so he is going to lose the rage. And Little Mac, he threw out a smash attack, but it was a up smash angled the wrong... Sorry, not angled. Little Mac was facing the wrong way for it, so he didn't hit Steve with it. Stever, to be precise. This is the alternate skin of the normal Steve amiibo. They made a Steve one and an Alex one, but for the tournament, the zombie skin kind of just has more visual variety than girl in a tennis outfit. Dash attack? Dash attack is gonna take it. Little Mac makes it on, which does mean he does make it onto the tournament because he won this match. For these next 47 matches, which is only like 4 or 5 videos, everyone who makes it gets to make it onto the tournament, and Little Mac will be doing that. Next match is going to be Donkey Kong against Captain Falcon, who, if you saw in the menu there, is actually one of the few grab-type amiibos we have left. Whenever anyone gets retrained, I set them to be a neutral-type amiibo, just because when the tournament started, it seemed like a cool idea. Over time, it just didn't pan out, especially once we found out what the spirit types actually do. I believe it's a flat bonus to your damage given and a reduction to damage taken if you have a type going against a equally good type. Sorry, if you have a type that's good against your opponent's type. It's like a 20 or 30% multiplier too, so it is significant. Especially because in a game like Smash Brothers, any multiplier to your damage will affect things like knockback and what combos you can make down the line. But in general, you're going to be seeing less and less of those as time goes on. Ideally, if I'm getting better at training these amiibo over time, then the newer amiibo will start shoving out the older amiibo who still have those types, and eventually those will be trained out of them. Since we're only retraining 4 people per year, it might take a while to actually get all the statistics to line up with the expectations. Speaking of which, well, training amiibo last year, fun story that you might find interesting at least, turns out that Palutena had Learn set to on, which means that she was actually technically able to adapt to her opponents, at least as the tournament goes on. I'm not exactly sure how that affects how the amiibo play during a battle, but I think it should have the same effect. I just don't have any data on it. Anyways, this is all to bring up that last year when I kept saying things like, oh wow, I swear this amiibo was listening to me. It could be that they were actually adapting to their situation. So that's a little fun little aside. Turns out that I can be wrong too. I don't know of anyone else who is set to stay learning on, but if they are, then they'll probably get weeded out too, because learning from amiibo's behavior definitely is not a great way to teach amiibo. First of all, if you ever get 2 amiibo that are at like level 0 and just tell them to train each other, you'll usually end up with a whole bunch of amiibo who only use neutral air, because that's usually the move that hits the most directions around the person. So it's the move they pick up on using the fastest, and then because it's the move that works out best, because they're actually hitting it, because they don't know when to use the other moves, they're gonna be reinforced to use that move more often. And then it becomes a circular thing, where it's the first move that they're gonna learn, so it's the first move they use, the first move they're enforced to use, and it just kind of snowballs out of control from there. Alright, so on to this actual match. Donkey Kong does have a lead, but he's at a high percent forward throw, actually killing it. Looked like Donkey Kong was able to sneak out a jump there, but he still ran into the blast zone. So effectively, this has now become a one-stock match. We didn't know that until the end, so don't feel like you've been cheapened out on precious amounts of content. Which is one of the strong suits of the, I want to say the April Angle series, but this is the March Malcontent portion of the series, is that we do have content. We do have a lot of content. You're not suffering for that. Ooh, epic knee from Captain Falcon. And now he's just kind of getting beaten up by Donkey Kong. Really rough to commentate that, I guess. I'll have to get better. One of the good parts about this preseason, though, is that does help me warm up my commenting chops for the actual tournament series. And of course, it is a little bit more of a chill environment, because this is effectively the preseason bonus matches. We can check. Oh, up air is going to finish off Captain Falcon. Donkey Kong is going to be in April Anger this year. You saw it here first. And that brings us to Kirby Smash Bros. Against Jigglypuff. The 2 small pink circles. No, I'm not the first person to make that comparison. But I will say it does actually come into play when you're playing Smash Bros. If you are Jigglypuff, going against a smaller opponent makes it really hard to hit rests, which is really important because if you get it wrong, you usually die for it. And if you don't die, you're taking a whole bunch of damage, which will make you die in the future. Alright, playing on the top part. Oh, and Jigglypuff just rolled into that. Jigglypuff is normally a character who you want to use your very good air mobility. I believe Jigglypuff has the 2nd highest airspeed in the game, only behind Yoshi, who needs his to recover. And there is a rest, so it can't be done, but Jigglypuff dies for it anyway. That is one of the risks of hitting a rest if it doesn't kill your opponent. Most people can just make it down to the ground in time and then hit you back for it. In particular, Luigi... Ooh, good rest again. Jigglypuff making me eat my words. In particular, Luigi can punish you with his up special. I think it's called Super Jump Punch. Anyways, if you hit the very tip of the hitbox, like right up in Luigi's face, I guess, although it's a little bit lower than that, it's a really strong hitbox. And if you are a Jigglypuff, it kills you incredibly early. And it doesn't take time for Luigi to set up, he just needs to actually get there. So if you miss the rest, he is going to hit you with that. And it's one of the characters in the game where I'd say that resting them, even though it's not going to kill them, is actually often negative. it in your favor. Normally, if you rest the opponent and they don't kill you for it, it at least does a whole bunch of damage, which is great. So even if they hit you with, you know, a forward smash, if you're alive, then you usually made it out ahead, because it deals just that much damage. However, with Luigi in particular, you get killed so early, and the up special still does its own damage, that it's really hard to justify using it, even when you do hit it. Jigglypuff covering the airspace. I don't think Kirby's normally ever going to make it up there. Obviously, he has enough jumps so that he can. Oh, Jigglypuff going for the down air, but doesn't go for any sort of follow-up. Sour Spot of up smash is not going to kill Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is still in this until she got hit in the head with an enormous spiky rock. Kirby Smash Bros. Is going to be making it to the tournament this year. And here we've got Sheik against Sonic. Two incredibly fast, agile characters that'll either make this match incredibly entertaining or not. We're going to be on the Mega Man stage, so it's a flat, I want to say generally neutrally beneficial to all characters. That being said, without any platforms, it does kind of lean a little bit towards people with projectiles, simply because they're harder to avoid. And anyone who's good at catching landings, since you can't make it ambiguous if you're going to land on a platform or not, because there are no platforms. Oh, Sheik tried to follow up with the needles there, but Sonic didn't hit the floor yet, so they actually missed him. And again, she does the exact same thing. Hits Sonic away, but is too quick on the needles. You can either delay them, or if you were to charge them up more so that you throw more needles at a time, that does extend effectively the duration of the needles, even though you're basically just launching more of them back to back, effectively. Sheik, having a blast at the ledge, is able to actually make it back up to the stage safely. Goes for some sort of combo on Sonic, but one of the moves does not connect, and that loses you the combo. Especially because Sheik is a very particular character when it comes to actually killing the opponent. Your smash attacks are weak enough that it's hard to justify throwing them out all the time, so you usually need to go for a specific confirm. And Sheik does actually have a bunch of confirms, but they all have, I guess I'd say, their monkey pod in some way. Just because there's so many, they're all so situational. None of them are simple as, oh, hit jab and then you kill the opponent. It's always stuff like, oh, you catch a random whiff with a forward air and then you can combo it into an up smash. Or you hit them with the far away part of her down tilt and you can hit them with an up smash. Or get them off stage, and if they don't DI correctly, you're going to hit them with a bouncing fish. I'm still not sure how that one works. I see people do it all the time, and I keep trying to figure it out, and something I'm doing is just wrong. Sonic finally gets a hit back in on Sheik. Sheik didn't use her jump, so she's going to be able to make that. Sonic did try to gimp her with the spring, which is actually usually a pretty good idea. Against a character as Sheik, it's not going to exactly be debilitating, especially because she has a double... Sorry, everyone has a double jump. Sheik has a wall jump. And Bouncing Fish is right onto Sonic doing the splits on her. Forward smash near the ledge is going to kill Sheik. Sonic's going to auto-heal about now. Oh, he did get hit first, but he almost hit 0% again. Which is something that I guess anyone new wouldn't realize about this tournament. All the amiibos have a balanced stat spread. So they do have 2100 in attack and defense. They are fully loaded with spirits. However, the spirit ability they have is greater auto heal, and all the amiibo have it. So it works great for this tournament because it means that everyone's on an equal playing field. And that, for example, your favorite amiibo isn't going to do poorly just because they didn't get lucky in the stat lottery. or anything like that. A lot of forward airs from Sheik coming out. However, one of the side effects is that since everyone does have auto heal, anything that takes a long time is a little bit underpowered, I guess. So it actually is, I guess I'd say, the Sheik's detriment the most, just because her combos usually take the longest and aren't very highly damaging. Like, obviously, the longer the combo goes, the more damage you're going to do. But if your combo takes 5 seconds to complete, then your opponent, and you, of course, I guess, are going to get that 5% auto heal. So yeah, that is unfortunate for Sheik and any non-hard hitting characters, but in general, since everyone does have it, it's mostly balanced. And I guess having that as a feature innately does help differentiate us from any other Amiibo tournaments you may or may not have seen. That being said though, the general performance of all the Amiibos does conform, in the general sense, to any standardized tier lists you may or may not see. We don't have any weird standouts except for, weirdly enough, usually the winner of the tournament each year. Sheik able to make it. Oh, Sonic actually got the 2-frame on her. These characters are just trading hits and no one is dying. Also, they are very much trading hits. Sonic gets Sheik off stage, but then he hits her with a down tilt. It's not a move of Sonic you want to be using all that much. I'm actually surprised we've seen so many out of Sonic this game. I've had a hard time getting Sonic's down tilt to do that much. Sometimes at low percents you can hit someone with it and then probably try to follow up with, say, a forward air. So it is something, of course. However, a lot of his other moves are just better. Like, forward tilt is actually a pretty good move for Sonic. A lot of reach, does damage, launches people off stage. Sonic has a wall jump, but he already used his up special, so he could not recover. Or at least he didn't recover. He maybe could have tried to use the neutral special to homing attack onto Sheik, but in the moment I actually don't know if you can do that out of an up special. Perhaps he could have tried to air dodge to the ledge, but I don't think it was going to be enough. Sheik getting a lot of hits in on Sonic, and then Sonic makes up the damage percentage by hitting her with an up smash. Just kind of how it goes when you play Sheik. Bouncing Fishes back to stage, gets Sonic with a wall jump back air. Some of these Amiibo do the most creative things. Then they get hit by a down smash at the ledge. Sonic wins. You're going to be seeing him in April Anger. And that brings us to Min Min against Dark Samus. Alright, looks like we're going to be on the Pokemon... Oh, I can never remember the names of all the stages. This is Unova Pokemon League? Min Min chasing Dark Samus with 3 down tilts in a row, sliding after her. Dark Samus not wanting to have that. Which I guess nobody would want to have that, but... In fact, I don't know if there's a person on Earth who wants to be kicked in the shins. Or possibly the ankles. Actually, you know what? I just said that, but I realized that amputees would probably accept that offer because then they would have their shins back. Alright, well that got depressing really quick. Min Min used her double jump. She is going to be able to grab the stage with her long noodly appendages. Dark Samus hanging out really far. I don't advise that against Min Min because Min Min can usually hit you when you do that. And if you can't, then Min Min's going to go forward 3 feet and then hit you for doing that. Min Min has range. However, she is probably going to be the character with the longest normal attacks. Obviously, of course, projectiles can go further, but... we've probably finally hit the theoretical limit. Unless they add, like, Spring Man, and he's got even slightly longer attacks. I think we're good. If anything, Smash Bros. Ultimate actually benefited from coming out when it did, because Springman became an assist trophy, which kind of disqualified him from becoming a fighter character. Just automatically. Like, obviously none of these rules are set in stone, so they could have done whatever they wanted. However, because he was already an existing assist trophy, it does bring up questions like, what if you're playing in a match and you get an assist trophy and you are playing as that same character? So I think that kind of helped pave the way for Min Min to become a character in Smash Bros. Instead, and honestly, I really like that. Especially because as far as ARMS goes, Springman is kind of just the generic Player 1 character, which is why he probably would have been chosen for Smash Bros. But Min Min is just intrinsically more interesting. I don't know if it's the noodles or the fact that she's not generic Player 1. We could have gotten Ribbon Girl, who is kind of generic Player 2, if I'm going to be honest, so Noodle Girl is just more interesting, if you ask me. Stronger design. Min Min trying to grab the stage with her forward air. That doesn't work. She's not one of the Belmonts. You have to use your up special to grab the stage. Missile up close. It actually hits because Min Min just does a short hop. It's a little bit weird this match because Min Min has a character with such long reach, but she's been playing it so up close. But it's kind of been working out because Samus is a character with great long distance projectiles and has also been playing it up close. So these characters don't seem to be playing to their strengths, but because of what kind of characters they are, it's sort of just evening out. Dark Samus still has that charge shot loaded. Let's see if she actually uses it. Normally she hasn't been, except for like the 2 matches when I mentioned that the amiibo have a hard time using their charged specials. And whenever I mention that, she immediately uses it. Great kill by Min Min. I didn't see that coming. Usually Min Mins don't forward air you from that close. See, there she did it again. Very up-close forward air. Obviously it worked, so I'm not going to detract from it. Now that's the range Min Min's normally fighting at. Although in this matchup, that is also kind of the optimal range for Samus to throw projectiles at you. Min Min does have a reflector, but it's her up smash. So you can't hold it, you have to time it, and which means if you mistime it, you get punished. Well, usually actually it means you get hit by the projectile. And because it is a smash attack, it comes out slower than a lot of other reflectors. Up smash, getting the fall through the platform. Min Min grabs the stage, but instead of retreating to create more space, she rolls into Samus and gets hit for it. Again, I'm not saying that you can't play the character like this, but I will say that there are reasons people usually gravitate towards the same play behaviors. Min Min off stage, able to grab the ledge, actually from pretty high up. And that time she couldn't. A little anticlimactic, but we do have the end of the match. Dark Samus will be making it into the tournament. And here we have Ice Climbers against King Dedede. I hope you like hammers, because we've got a lot. And by a lot, I mean 3. But most matches usually have 0 hammers, so that's actually quite a lot. In fact, I think in order to get more, you'd have to have 2 sets of Ice Climbers. Which means that this is the most amount of hammers you should be seeing in a match of April Anger. Oh wait, actually, Game & Watch has 2 hammers when he does his down smash attack. So if Game & Watch goes against Ice Climbers, you can, for a brief moment on screen, have 4 hammers. Quick kill on King Dedede. Good job. King Dedede going with a whole bunch of aggressive neutral airs where the Ice Climbers are not. That would normally be kind of fine against a real player because a lot of people tend to jump out of shield. But the Ice Climbers just aren't, and King Dedede keeps hoping for them to. One Ice Climber goes off stage. King Dedede makes it back. He probably would have made it back without that assist even. Turns out that the one big hammer just really can't compete with the two smaller hammers. They are still larger than most hammers. I guess I'd call it a mallet at that case, but I don't know what the ontological sizing definition is for hammers versus mallets and that sort of thing. Great parry, only got one of them, and King Dedede keeps just showing his belly to the sky. Could have gone for an up smash, instead he just kind of lingered until it was too late. Falls past the ledge with an up air, puts him really low, but he actually does get a sneak attack on the ice climbers. Well, one of them. And he finally hit a neutral air. He might have hit one earlier. If he did, I did not notice. Gets them off stage. King Dedede recovers, but he has to cancel it to land on the stage. That has a lot of lag. Specifically to prevent people from canceling it, I'm pretty sure. Because they want you to go for the landing hitbox instead. It would be a little disappointing if you could just cancel out of that, especially since you would be canceling out of the threat of the massive hitbox as well. The ice climbers make it back, but not without a heavy toll. They lose their second ice climber, which is, well, I guess it's the second most important ice climber, but you're really not in a good spot when you lose them. King Dedede does not read the tech roll. Sends a Gordo off stage, ice climbers don't get hit by it though. Up air does not connect. Guess now would be a good time to cover. So the terminology for the ice climbers. There's Nana and Popo. Popo's normally the lead ice climber, Nana is the second ice climber. Popo's blue, Nana's pink. And this skin actually, when I say skin, it's every character gets 8 colorations. For the ice climbers, 4 of them actually switch which ice climber is in the lead. And they even change the order of their voice lines to match for it. So that's why the lead ice climber has pink gloves. Which, by the way, I chose the white coloration specifically because it makes it harder to tell them apart, which isn't great for this tournament. However, if the ice climbers ever were to go against a human player, which you know is possible, it would make it more difficult for the human. That was actually the trend when training all these amiibo. They were made in a way that they would be very difficult for humans to fight. And then I'm at a tournament where they all fight each other, because I started getting a lot and thought, hey, what if they were to fight each other? That'd be pretty cool. So that's also why you won't see the amiibo do very specific anti-amiibo behavior. Usually, like, a lot of characters will have a move that the amiibo's AI, which by that I mean they're programming, they're not running off of artificial intelligence. I guess the term has changed nowadays. Anyways, the amiibo's programming has a hard time dealing with certain types of moves, usually weird moves. That and I hear that moving grab hitboxes they have a hard time with. Anyway, so it is, in an amiibo tournament, an entirely viable strategy to just spam the moves that the enemy's going to have a hard time dealing with by nature of not being programmed super well to deal with that kind of move. And we're not going to be doing that. First of all, that would probably make the tournament less interesting, but also the amiibo were just never trained with that in mind. If anyone ever does feel like training their own amiibo, which I'm sure still happens, I mean, once I get Pyro and Mether, I'm going to be training them as well. But not only do we know a lot more now, but also you need to train your amiibo from the beginning to the environment that they're going to be competing in. For example, this is a tournament where all the amiibo get fully maxed out with spirits. I hear that there are tournaments where they don't do that, where you get no spirits, or you get spirits and everyone's going to have different ones. So you do have to train your amiibo accordingly. Best example, if you give your amiibo aerial attacks up, you're probably going to want to have them do a lot of aerial attacks. Like that. King Dedede's up air is a good kill move. If he hits you on the top half of the screen and you're at high percent, you just die. And up next we have Cloud against Young Link. But if you may have noticed, this amiibo is named Cloudy. That's because he's the second printed amiibo for Cloud, the Advent Children's outfit. So we have Cloud and Cloudy. They are different, that's not just a typo. It was either that or I named him Cloudier. Or perhaps with a chance of meatballs, but there's a 10 character limit, so not gonna get that to fit. Young Link goes way too low. He's able to recover, thankfully. This is the hazards off version of Skyworld. Well, all of these stages are in the preseason, but also in the tournament. Hazards off, so these platforms will not be breaking. Cloud missed a tech and died for it. That's just how Skyworld goes, though. You can survive for a very long time, but especially once you get hit past the damage threshold of... It's actually a knockback threshold, to be technical, but the threshold of when you can no longer tech, then you bounce around a couple of times and then die. Something about the platform layout especially makes it likely for you to bounce off of a ceiling and then get sent down. Cloud immediately wasting the limit break. I guess he maybe could have tried to hit Young Link with it, but still, at least try to put a little bit more care into getting the things to hit than that. Both characters are just playing around this platform. I guess it's their favorite platform to be near this match. Constantly going off stage and getting punished for it. They've usually been able to make it back. Now Cloud's getting the techs. Gets his limit. He does use it, but he uses it to bring Young Link back to the stage. I know he did have to recover, so he didn't have too much leeway there. But he could have also just not gone off stage. And now Cloudy's died twice. Young Link hasn't even died once yet. Very high recovery. Cloud hits it with an up special. Probably could have waited for a... At least wait and then hit him with the down smash. I don't remember if Cloud's down smash sends you forwards or backwards, depending on the hitbox. I have to see it connect once just to remember. There's so many moves in this game. I can't be expected to know every single one of them. It does actually get interesting in, for example, high-level play. You do need to know something about your opponent's moves to know how to DI them correctly. But with almost 100 characters, and each one of them has a complete moveset, and each move has multiple hitboxes, and some characters will have chargeable versions or stuff like that, it gets to be an obscene number of moves. So you can't always know how to DI all of them. You kind of just have to pick the big ones and learn those, and the rest, I guess, remember in the middle of the match. Obviously, if you do put enough time for it, you could memorize 10,000 things. There are people who do that. They actually have tournaments of people who memorize stuff. It's kind of impressive. I hear that they have, you know, certain tricks that make it much more manageable, which makes sense. Especially because they don't get months to memorize the things. They get, say, a deck of cards, and they have to memorize the order as fast as they can. Cloud gets the second tech. That'll sometimes happen, especially depending on your timing of the first one. That's more of a human thing, though, because human reaction time and delays and whatnot. That time Cloud got the tech, but it actually meant that Young Link got the free follow-up. Side special is going to kill Young Link. They're both at one stock, but Cloud is kind of near the end of his. Goes low, able to recover to the stage. Couple of meaty hits. Link's neutral air will kill, by the way. You have to hit with the early part of it. A lot of moves will have, for example, the burst hitbox, where if you hit them at the beginning, it does a lot more than if you hit them with the lingering end of the move. Tail end of the up smash. That actually kind of case in point. Cloud hits the limit break. Young Link can't tech. Cloudy actually made it back. Against what I was saying he was going to do. Good job, and for that, you get to make it into the tournament. And when I say you, I mean the amiibo, not the viewer. Sorry, this is strictly an amiibo-only tournament. And last match of the video, we have Ganondorf against R.O.B. The Japanese R.O.B. with the American skin. To, you know, be more confusing, because the American skin has the Japanese R.O.B. Say it every year. I'm sure it's getting old to someone, but you gotta say these things. R.O.B. actually managing to hit down throw to up smash at 0%. because Ganondorf chose his escape option and it was not the correct one. Up tilt, not connecting. So that was something to consider when I started training Ganondorf. I wanted him to have the capability of using that move. I just didn't want him to be using it a lot. So pretty much I used it a couple of times, and then once I saw that he started using it, I stopped using it to try to keep it to a minimum. He's tried to use it at least 3 times this match, which is not a good sign. But also the amiibo are more likely to get hit by it than most real players. And that time he went for a forward air, so that wasn't an up tilt. See, he does know how to use the other moves, and he should be using them more often. If he ever does need to get retrained, I'll try to... See right there, R.O.B was behind him, but it's like an explosion, and one of his limbs must have poked out behind Ganondorf. And it's stuff like that, which is why Ganondorf hasn't had to be retrained. Yes, he'll miss a move, but his moves are so strong that if he hits a different one, then he's set. Ganondorf needing to recover, he actually does. Trading hits with R.O.B. Ganondorf is always an amiibo who always does at least pretty... Oh, getting hit by down tilts in a corner. Ganondorf manages to get out. Hits off of one of the off-screen walls, so he survives that. Then gets hit with the kill confirm. R.O.B hanging out dangerously close to the side of the screen for someone at 40% against the Ganondorf. Ganondorf's recovery does have a hitbox. It does sometimes have advantages. Down throw to shield. That is always an option you have. And Ganondorf with yet another up tilt. He throws out the forward smash too early, goes for a Warlock punch. He does armor through R.O.B's move, but he isn't able to hit him with the punch itself. Random, well, I want to call it random, but I guess anyways, back air does kill R.O.B. The windbox actually escorts him out of the up tilt. Down B spike through the platform. I did not see that coming. Ganondorf is going to be making it into the tournament, which almost guarantees he's not going to get retrained, like I was talking about. So, there you have it.